Welcome back, pet parent. You already know. If you've been here for even a hot minute, you know that your girl is totally woo-woo, and that's okay. I love it. And if that's not okay with you, that's fine too. So many of us, though, I feel like are starting to realize that there's something more. There's something more to life that we haven't tapped into. There's something we feel like is missing, and we have been searching for it for so long. And for some of us, we have kind of awoken to the idea that there is energy. We are energy, and energy is all around us. And I've talked about this before. I've had animal communicators on in the past, and I recently published an episode talking a little bit about Romeo and how I really used that energy and that connection that I had with him. Even though, no, I personally don't hear him speak to me in, English. um, we still spoke to each other in other ways. And I find it so fascinating. And I actually think that getting to work one-on-one with people, I see where there are so many things that we don't take into consideration oftentimes. And if you had asked me a month ago, I probably would have said water was like the number one thing people take for granted and don't ever think about. And today, my answer is totally different. It's energy. It's something that we just don't think about at all, but can make such a huge impact in the quality and care that you give to your pets, but really also to yourself as well. So I'm going to introduce today's guest, but really quickly before I do that, if this happens to be the first time you're listening to me and you're like, who is this crazy lady and what is she talking about? My name is Jessica. I am a certified canine nutritionist. I'm also raw certified in feline nutrition, a certified holistic pet health coach, and a positive reinforcement dog trainer. And on this podcast, we talk about literally everything to make your pets' lives better. And coming up, we are actually going to be incorporating some things to make your life better as well. And I think all of these things tie in really, really well together, which is also why I'm so excited to have Michelle Thomas on today's podcast. You may know her as Magical Mutts Michelle, especially if you follow me on Instagram. I have posted about her because she did a reading for me and my dog Kimberly. And I normally do not read like guest bios because it's all posted on the website. You can go read about it. The guest is going to tell you all about themselves. But she has one line in her bio that I just couldn't not tell you. And it says, Michelle realized through her intuitive energy and animal communication work, I'm paraphrasing, that and with her own life experiences, that true health cannot be achieved without addressing the deeper emotional and spiritual realm. And that hit me so hard when I read it that I was like, no, I have to say that. I have to say that to you. So, Michelle, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to have this chat and that it's becoming like more mainstream to talk about energy and spiritual realm and incorporate it into our daily lives.
Yeah. And one of the things that I find really interesting, and I mean, you probably do as well, you were a licensed veterinary technician, so you have a background in science as well as I do. My formal education is in science as well. So I have always kind of gravitated toward like our like Western understanding of science. But I find that a lot of what we believe today, what we talk about as being science, what we talk about is like biology and the understanding of, the solar system and all of the things around us, is really trying to explain spirituality and the spiritual things that we really don't have an explanation for.
Yeah. I mean, just the way that our bodies work, our animals' bodies work, like there's so much magic in that. Like within science, there's so much like magic and awe of just how everything comes together
Yeah.
to create our bodies. And I feel like people can think that there's not a place for spirituality or energy work within the mainstream medical field, but they really do work together so beautifully.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, but I want to hear how you came to the, like, how, so you do intuitive energy work and you're also an animal communicator. And how did all of that come about? How did you were you little and you realized, or did it happen as an adult? Like, how did all of this happen?
I've always had a deep connection to animals. Like all of my childhood memories are spending time with my dog Sparky or out in the barn with my horses. And I just had such a deep connection to them. And since I was little, I always wanted to work in the veterinary field. I just knew I was going to work with animals. And I went to Michigan State and I got my bachelor's in veterinary technology. And even then, when I was in school at that time, I felt like there was something lacking, but I wasn't sure what. So I did some exploration into holistic medicine. I was able to mentor with a wonderful holistic vet, and that opened up a lot of doors to see that there's more to the care of our pets. And I went into focusing a lot on nutrition, which is very important, but I still saw that there was something lacking. And it was through my own health journey that I really put together this puzzle of like, it can be combining Western medicine, nutrition, herbal medicine, but you also need to get to the deeper root, the energetic, emotional health, because our bodies are truly a reflection of that. And you could eat all the good food, take all the supplements, but if you have these energetic blocks or emotions that you're holding in and not addressing and holding space for, you really will see repeat patterns of illness.
One of the things that I find so interesting, because I've been on my own, not just physical health journey, but also mental health journey.
Mhm.
And I don't say that lightly, because I realize that there are people out there that deal with severe mental illness, and so I'm not making light of that. Like, I have nothing to complain about, but just being a Libra and an overthinker, and it's hard.
I mean, the human experience is wild and
Yeah,
difficult and confusing
yeah.
for all of
But
us.
one of the things that I have found, and I find it to be so interesting, is that I think women, especially, like, obviously, I wouldn't exclude men. We all have both masculine and feminine energy. But I think just the female of the species in general, we tend to be a little bit more open to, and maybe even find connection with, um, whatever you want to call it, the universe, spirit, source, energy, whatever it may be that you want to call it. I feel like we can, I don't, maybe get there easier, maybe have more of an open mind to um, connect with it. And I think that is absolutely something, just like what you said. I see that all the time in all of the um, accounts I follow, like on social media. It's like, you can do all the things. Get up at the crack of dawn and go stand outside, and get your sun early in the morning, have your coffee, do your grounding, do eat right, do your yoga, do all of the things. And if your mind isn't right, you're only
Yeah,
going to get so far.
absolutely. And that's so true for our animals also. And what I've found through my work is like how deeply connected our animals and ourselves are. So when I first started doing the energetic sessions, it was really focused on the animals alone. But then it's really like beautifully shifted into where it's really healing in partnership with your animals, because they're really here to be our guides and are here in our lives for a reason. And our energetics are so deeply connected together that when connecting with your animal, also a lot can, come up for you and your journey.
So when you say you connect with an animal, what does that mean? What does that look like?
Yeah. So sometimes difficult to put into words. So I'll try to best translate or give an idea of what I'm feeling. So it's important. It's like a ceremony. Even now, I have a candle lit while we're speaking, and I make sure to be very intentional with my energy, where I'm grounding myself. And I have a practice of, say, grounding to the earth, connecting to the heavens. That's like the way I start and light a candle. And I set intention to connect with your animals, to bring any information forward to serve their highest good. And I was kind of explaining to you earlier that I can connect on like 3 levels throughout sessions, and we may bounce between those levels. And my job is to follow along. So sometimes your animal may be giving me a message directly that they would like to convey. It might be something like, I really love these treats, or, I want this toy, or funny, things like this that they have requests. Sometimes some wisdom beyond, your wildest dreams of like this wisdom that these animals bring forward. So I can connect direct messages to your animals. I also can get messages from their body. So that may look like foods that can support them, maybe things to support their microbiome, detox that's needed. So it's kind of like a body scan and receiving information of how to support their body. That comes into play, which we can talk about more later, of like if it could working in conjunction with your veterinarian, I may receive some information that you can then follow up with them for further diagnostics or care. And then I'm also connecting with their spirit team, their spirit guides, and receiving information for holding space on a deeper level of maybe emotions that no longer serve them, that I can hold space for releasing, or deeper energetic shifts, or sometimes something regarding their people as well. So your spirit team can come in also with requests.
So when you have a session and you connect with an animal and possibly even the person, how do I want to ask this question? Because I know different people.
I'm like, I think I know what you're like. How do I receive the messages?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's funny, in the intro, you said you've had an animal communicator connect you with your cat who's passed, but your cat doesn't speak to you in English. And I doubt that your cat is speaking to that communicator in English either. Or really, I think there's this idea that intuitives, mediums are receiving like just hearing.
Mm-hmm.
I will even sometimes use that language of saying, oh, they said to me, but I'm not hearing something. And you're right that like every person may receive messages differently. And we all have ways that we are. So your cat may be communicating with you. You're just not aware. It's about tuning in to that. And then my job is to translate that. And personally, myself, I can receive those messages in a variety of different ways. Sometimes I will see something. And when I say see something, also, it's in your mind's eye. You see something. Or I feel energy waves come in. So sometimes, I don't know if you noticed in our session, my eyes will like flip back and forth, and it's me receiving a downloaded channeled message. And then it's through practice that you trust this stuff. It's like a trust muscle. So I'll receive a message and then I say, I got this message. And, through confirmation, it's like these messages, you learn to trust them. Sometimes I feel something in my body. So if your animal has pain in an area of their body, I may feel that. So it's, feeling these, interpreting different messages that come through. So that's why I think sometimes people, like even in general, day to day, like following your intuition, your higher self, your guides, God, whatever you want to label it, can be really subtle. It doesn't have to be, something intense. And it's about, I may also not recognize these subtle things in my day-to-day life when I'm distracted, but it is getting in this very grounded, different state that I can receive these messages clearly.
So I still want to talk about like all the food and stuff in just a little bit. But before we get there, I want to ask about like the connection between a pet parent and a pet and energetically, one of the things, and I don't know if I said this to you or not, but after, I don't know, having talked to and listened to and having so many different animal communicators tune in to various pets I've had, one of the things that I have heard a bunch of different pieces and kind of put a puzzle together for myself, that I now have the belief that dogs are here to teach us unconditional love, and cats are more like our spiritual guardian. I don't know if that is true, but that's how I feel in my life, in my body. Does that make any sense to you? I just have to ask everybody that.
Yeah, I see a lot of variety of lessons with dogs. Like, I think just like someone just actually asked me this today because I made some posts on Instagram about some really highly spiritually evolved dogs that I've been connecting with. But not all dogs are very spiritually evolved. And some are, and it can really matter where they're at on their soul journey, how many incarnations they've had, where they've been, what lessons they've learned, what they bring to us. But yes, certainly this unconditional love is really important and part of that can be like meeting them where they're at in their soul journey. You can learn a lot of lessons through difficult relationships,
Mhm.
but cats certainly are like energetic protectors. I think even in your session, some cats came in to do some energetic clearing. So I'll bring in spirit guides to help me during sessions. And sometimes cats will come in to do energetic cleansing. I always have like little totems, altars that I set and ask who wants to come in before each session. Even now I ask, I don't know why, but this snake picture wanted to come in while we talk. And a dragon, which is like my son's dragon toy that likes to come in. But yeah, I have a lot of little cat statues and I'll often bring them into sessions because they're very efficient energetic cleansers. So I forget how you worded it, of their purpose of like a protector.
Yeah, I think they're like spiritual guardians. And it is funny. After I had that session with you, I was like scrolling and I saw this beautiful purple dragon brooch. And I was like, I need to buy that.
And like how I say, like you may not hear something.
Mm-hmm.
These little signs when something comes up and you keep seeing it, it's like, yeah,
Yeah, it's funny.
your
So,
dragon energy calling to you.
right. So how I mean, every relationship is different, obviously. Do you find that you're often kind of bridging the gap energetically between pets and their pet parents? Like in my mind, an average pet parent is like, okay, I know I need to feed this better food. I know that my dog is needing to go for a walk every day. I know that when they jump up and they stare at me, like it means X, Y, Z. Different animals have different ways of expressing themselves. But that like do you find that most people just don't have that energetic connection with their pets? Are you just like bridging the gap a lot of
It
times?
depends on the person, how in tune that they are. But I feel like feedback I get after the sessions is that people have like a deeper understanding and connection with their animals. And I think bridging that gap can be how I talked about, like sometimes it's a message directly from your animal of what they need from you for them and also what they want for you. And then also a deeper understanding of maybe there was trauma that happened to them before you had them, or something that can give you a deeper understanding of why they have this behavior or this fear now. And then I'm doing with this communication, but then also will hold space for helping to release this. So you can see shifts in behavior by holding space for releasing these emotions, these traumas that happen. And this can be in this lifetime or other lifetimes.
That's what I was getting ready to
Just
say.
to put it, yeah, I'm like,
Past
I don't know
life.
how. which
Yeah.
often we have multiple lifetimes with our animals. It can be really beautiful. There's some souls that you are deeply connected to, and I love when they like assure you that you'll always be together through many lifetimes. That's like so beautiful. And sometimes last week I had a lot of dogs that were childhood dogs that have come back to these people as adults, and it's and within that doing a lot of like inner child healing work for that person to really, you know, heal that part of themselves that dog was there with them to experience in that time.
That is so interesting to me too. The idea of like inner child work. Um,
Mhm.
it's a tough one
Mhm.
to for me, probably for everybody,
Yeah.
to face.
Mhm.
And the idea that like our pets could be here to help us with that, but also we could they could be coming to us because they need help, right? Is that
Yeah, absolutely. I think it can go both ways. Of healing and partnership, healing each other, learning lessons together. Something I see also is like I had this dog this week that has been with his owner over 100 times and always as the relationship of dog and human. And he said he looked at shelters for over 3 months and was like, this isn't, couldn't find his dog. He like reached his hand in the cage. The dog licked his hand. And like, before he even like looked at the dog, he just like knew like, this is my dog. And there can be like, profound, deep relationships like that. But then also sometimes you get an animal that you don't feel deeply connected to. And I work with a lot of people who have a lot of grief or guilt around that. But there's also a lesson within that as well, that every
yeah.
animal isn't going to be your deep soul connected animal. And that's okay too. And you're also still there to teach each other things and releasing this guilt that you don't feel like, I say guttural feeling of like connection to this animal, you're not going to feel that with every animal. And
Yeah. Well, speaking of guilt, that was one of the things that I've actually been working on myself since our session because I went in thinking that my dog, Kimberly, was going to have all of this trauma and all of this like help that she needed. And like she really ended up like she had some,
Mhm.
but she really like what I was left with more than anything was she was like, I got my bed, I got my water bowl, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so like I've been trying to let go of the guilt I had been feeling for so many years with like, I'm not doing everything I need to be doing. I'm not supporting her in the ways I need to be supporting her. And maybe, obviously there's always still room and work that needs to be done, but like trying to release my own guilt because she was just like, I'm good.
Yeah, people will be like, tell me what else do they want? And they're like, I don't know, like you could give me a piece of bread, like I'm fine. Like it's usually not, like usually they often have a lot of things they want you to do, even outside of activities with them. They're like, go running, go dance, listen to music, find joy within yourself. Even with traveling, people will be like, I'm so guilty that I'm going on this vacation and leaving my pet. And your animal's like, oh, I'll miss you, but like, oh, that's bringing you joy. That's wonderful. Like, usually they'll be like, show people pictures of me, talk about me, think about me, maybe bring me something back. Like, and they just want to know like the plan or who they're staying with, But
Yeah.
of course, there's some animals who have deep rooted separation anxiety, but honestly, most of those animals aren't worried about themselves. They're worried about their person and an instability in the person. So it's like often working through them feeling that their person's safe, without them.
So you said that like initially you were just like trying to exclusively work with the animals, but it sounds like the animals have kind of almost made you like,
Yeah, the animals demand us to take care of ourselves, which is like you'll take care of your animal before yourself. So it's been a beautiful way to like open up for people to like, there's such in our society of feeling like you're selfish or you feel guilty for doing things for yourself, but you will endlessly do things for your animal. And I'm like, doing things for yourself is doing something for your animals. Like, self-care is taking care of your pets, because if you're imbalanced, that throws them off, you know.
That's a clip. I'm just gonna have to post that as a clip because I certainly am guilty of that, of like completely ignoring my own wants and needs and putting everyone else above me, and trying very hard not to do that anymore.
Yeah, our animals don't want that for us. They want us to be happy and take care of ourselves on a emotional, mental, physical level. They want us to find joy. Yeah, so often they'll just request things that bring you joy, and they want that feeling in the home. They're like, can you play this music you used to? Can you do these things? Because, you know, stress comes up in life and we forget to do those like simple, joyful things.
How often do you think our pets want to be included in our spiritual practices, if we have any, or ask that we start spiritual practices, like whether that's like
Yeah,
journaling or meditating or
yeah.
whatever that is?
I feel that most animals really do. It's really important. And it's interesting. I just yesterday had a session. I asked him, this person, like, do you have a spiritual practice? Because your dog is telling me that, you know, you do, and you should really focus on that. And he's like, I don't. But then it came through that his spiritual practice is gardening and connecting with the flowers. So we can be, spiritual practice doesn't need to look like, you know, maybe we were raised for it to look like. I mean, I think it's beautiful if you have a religion that really, you know, resonates with you. But your spiritual practice can be something simple like gardening or yoga or whatever calls to you, hiking, you know. I have this dog last week also who is preparing to leave his body. And her other dog, he used to always go hiking in the mountains with his person, and he's no longer able to do that. And the other dog doesn't always want to go hiking, she told me, because once she hurt her foot, well, that's and she was a little like felt vulnerable that she could hurt her foot again. And he's like, before I go, it's really important that you embrace hiking with her, because there's magic in the mountains, and like this is an important spiritual practice for his owner to be hiking with her dogs. And so he like he can't leave her until she can like have that spiritual practice again. So yeah.
Wow. That's, excuse me, that's actually really beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, and also made me think of something I didn't think of before. And I don't know why, but the idea that we have, I think, so much grief, sadness around the idea of losing our pets. And that's not wrong, but also it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
And I've had so many animal communicators tell me that it's like, yes, to us, it's death, but to them, it's just moving on.
Yeah, it's just another transition out of their body. Very rarely have I seen, maybe if it was something very sudden or tragic, you know, but generally animals really are, yeah, it's not a scary process for them. And our animals can have such deep connection with us and with the other animals, even beyond their body. So it can be really a beautiful process. I know a lot of people grapple with guilt when an animal passes. Maybe I could have done this, maybe I could have done that, maybe. But there's something beautiful in like honoring the way that your animal wants to die. But sometimes that means not doing a lot of interventions. This dog I was just speaking of that wants this other dog to go hiking in the mountains, he was like ready to leave his body and told us this. But once we actually had her stop a lot of interventions, he's I mean, he was a completely different dog. He's rebounded. He wants to stay in his body longer. He was stressed out by going to too many appointments, too much poking, too much prodding. Even like, he just wants the simple things. He wants his owner to cook some meals for him. He wants to like greet people around the neighborhood. He wants to play little nosework games. And these things are what bring him joy. He doesn't want to have a ton of intervention, and she honored that. And he like has made a rebound, like blossomed.
It's so interesting that that came up because it also came up in the recording I just did right before yours.
Oh, really?
And it's been really like heavy on my heart since Romeo passed, which was at the beginning of August. I keep telling myself I'm going to do a reel, and I haven't done it because it's hard, but it just keeps coming up that like I feel like I want to give people permission almost to not have to intervene in every single thing.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
to like, and like, who am I to give people permission? But I feel like people have such a hard
I think
time with
people
it.
worry about judgment. So by people validating and saying, I know you're making a decision out of love and from your heart and what your animal you feel is best and your animal is asking you to do. And yeah, I'm not judging you for that. I think that's especially with social media and everything, people are worried about judgment from others on the way they care for their pets. And, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, animals, a big thing a theme that comes up for me is animals do not want you pitying them. That is, I mean, no one wants pity directed at them. So, like when they're old or they're going through something, just making like an offering of love of however that looks, but not pitying or over worrying or trusting them. My mom's cat was just sick and just had a little upset stomach, and I connected in with him, and he said he ate a snake outside and had a little upset belly,
Oh my
which he's been
gosh.
obsessed with hunting snakes all summer. And I did a little energy work on him, and he's like, I'll feel better in 2 days. So my mom was hovering over him and worrying about him and messaging me. And then he wanted to go outside, which he's allowed to do sometimes, but he always comes back quickly. He didn't come back. And she's so worried and she's frantic running around. And I connected with him. He's like, I'm under the porch. She's annoying me. I told her I'd be better in 2 days. Like, she needs to like give me some space. And he said, when she goes up to bed and proves to me that she's like giving me space and not worrying, I'll come in. Of course, it was like 3 a.m. But he's like, I'll come in now. But I told her, like, he was like annoyed by like the coddling. He's like, I'm a cat. I know what I'm doing. I told you 2 days. And he's fine. He's fine now. Which is like to say, like, I was like, okay, if he's not better in these 2 days, maybe take him to the vet. It's not like a substitute, but some trust in their bodies and what they're doing.
Yeah, that's funny. You're annoying me. I can definitely see like literally every cat being like, you're annoying me. So connecting in getting a lot of the like spiritual stuff that is really, really cool and can be very beneficial. But one of the things that you do that I find absolutely fascinating is how you can kind of connect with different food, or not that you're connecting with the food, you're connecting with the animal, but they're telling you about different foods that might work better for them, or foods that maybe don't make them feel that great. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Maybe give me some examples of how this works.
And that's actually like how I started doing the energetic work. When I first started, I was just started playing around with it for doing diet recommendations. I actually used to own a store here in Vermont that focused on fresh feeding and supplements and things. So I started utilizing it with my customers, where, at first it's like, when you first coming out with the stuff, it's like a little hard. You're like, do you mind if I just try something a little, maybe seems weird, but and it was working. It's like I just asked the body to tell me what's in alignment and what is not energetically in alignment. And so basically, I'll uh, write a chart of like, these are the proteins in alignment for their body. These are the proteins not in alignment for their body. If I get a no, I will actually ask like why, maybe like intolerance or some foods are like high in heavy metals. So I can ask more questions, but then we can kind of have an idea of what bodies are most in alignment in that moment to support your animal's body. And yeah, I just started seeing where, customers have been struggling with their animals having like GI tract issues or skin issues and getting results of like improvement. So that was like, yeah, gaining the trust and now utilize it often to just see, it's like taking out the guessing game around what foods will work. And then I can ask questions also of like, okay, like fat, like how much fat do they need in their diet? What percentage of veggies? Should it be cooked or raw? And that can shift. So I just want to give that disclaimer, I guess, with everything energetically. This is like a snapshot of what in the moment. So in 6, 8 weeks, maybe their body needs a little something different. But I know people spend a lot of frustration trying different things, seeing what works, trial and error. And it's really been cool to like have like this snapshot to make recommendations.
Yeah, that does sound really, really awesome. And you had told me that turkey doesn't do well for Kimberly, and I didn't. It was like as soon as you said that, I was like, oh my gosh, she was having a few months back some kind of like food aversion issues, and it was very frustrating trying to figure out what was going on. And it happened that I was feeding her turkey at that time, and it took weeks, honestly, for me to kind of get, or for her to get back into like just okay, I'm eating. Like it was always it was like this struggle for a while.
Yeah, her body
Even
didn't feel good, so she.
yeah, and fortunately, I already didn't have any more turkey in the house. But just knowing that, like, it was almost like I felt like, oh, I should have realized, but I didn't at all. But then as soon as you said it, I was like, it was like it popped in my head, like it was turkey that was, because I remember I had a couple pounds of it, and I was like, well, we'll cook it, and we'll, which, gently cooking it on the stove, and it got her like she would eat it, but she was like not excited about it, and she was really kind of standoffish, and yeah, it took us a while, and so now I'm like, all right, we're good. It was also very confirming.
Yeah.
To like those little things that come up, I'm sure in sessions all the time where people are like,
aha moments.
yes.
Yeah. I work with a lot of picky eaters also just to get kind of to the root of what's going on. And sometimes it's emotional and sometimes just within their body, their digestion needs some support or detox or something, that they're feeling nauseous or something deeper, or that certain foods are causing their body not to feel good when they eat. Or sometimes it's just preference. So sometimes they're telling me foods that they want. And then I'm like, your body doesn't really like that. But just like us, sometimes we love the taste of some things that aren't in our highest alignment.
Yeah. I know. I have a client who gives his dog so much cheese, and he's like, I need him to lose weight. I'm like, we have got to cut the cheese.
Cheese is a huge request for dogs. Yeah.
He's like, but my dog loves it so much, and sometimes it's all he wants to eat. And I'm like, okay, well, just not obviously not doing what you do, but like just walking him through the like, okay, we're gonna reserve cheese for like special occasions, and let's make it raw, and let's make it, like let's try to make this as healthy as possible. Because his dog definitely needs to lose more weight than I would like. But yeah, it's funny how, obviously they have preferences just like we do. Though if they had never gotten it in the first place, they wouldn't know to crave it.
Yeah. Oh, this dog, it was, I think I had mentioned to you that like food came up a lot yesterday
Mm.
in my
Yeah.
sessions where this dog said, I really love when you give me bread. He wanted me to tell his person that. And Sandra said, oh, that's interesting because like if I try to give him a piece of my bagel or something, he's not that into it. But we have a friend who makes this bread out of a sourdough starter, and like this starter is like really meaningful to her. There's something behind it that like she's had it for a long time and it means a lot to her. And she bakes these loaves of bread and shares it with her friends. And the dog was like, yes, that bread is infused with love. Like it tastes so good because I can like feel the love in that bread, like the energy of it. Yeah.
That's amazing. So and obviously you don't have to like give me anything that would be like a tell or make anybody
Mhm.
feel weird or embarrassed, but like what are some of the stranger requests that you've gotten from animals?
Oh, someone whose boyfriend doesn't live with them, so he'll like come and stay sometimes and leave. The dog was like, "Can he leave his dirty underwear here on the bed when he leaves?" And I'm like, "I'm just the messenger. Is what your dog's asking." Like, so sometimes dogs will, request funny things, or I had posted, or someone had posted something about this. I had this dog yesterday who kept going on about the grandma's hair. She was like, she's got the nicest hair. And then she tells her mom, well, you have nice hair too, but like not as nice as grandma's. Like, just like, okay.
Those, backhanded compliments, I
Yeah,
guess.
backhanded. She's like, it's nice. But yeah, yeah. So I love when they have their like personality come through, or like really confident dogs. I had, and I always ask permission before sharing anything, just to put that out there, that if something comes up in session, I like to, that's fun to share. I ask permission of the person and the dog, and a lot of dogs like want to share this stuff. Like I'm sure Kimberly would want everyone to know that she's Princess Sparkles. Like,
Yeah.
gonna be proud of that. Like, yeah. And I had a dog that wanted to do yoga with her mom, and she wanted like, she said a purple mat next to her, which she's like, oh, I do have an extra mat that's purple, and then she said she wanted to like have her picture taken and share it with everyone. So some dogs like really want to be like out there and showing off, their stuff. So
Also saw a cat that wanted to go to ride in the basket
oh
of the
yeah,
bicycle.
I like love this cat, which this is like stuff that I'm like, so that when I'm saying it, I have to have a trust muscle, because I'm like, first of all, your cat is telling me that he wants to wear a hat. And like logically, I'm like, why would your cat want to wear a hat? Like what cat wants to wear a hat? But this is what he's showing me. Like I was seeing a hat on him, and she owns a store. He would want everyone to know. So Lone Star Pet in Arizona. And he actually, like in the first session I ever did with him, he's like, I want to go to the store more. And same thing. I'm like, my cats would never want to come and hang out at a store where there's people and
Yeah.
dogs coming in and out. No, this cat like wants to be there. So he hangs out at her store, and I guess she has a display with some hats on it, like for dogs, and he's seen that. So she's like, yeah, he's seen a dog hat. And I'm like, well, he wants his own hat. So he's been wearing hats, and he absolutely loves them, and he's like feeling himself. And then he also told me, like, I want to ride a bike. And I'm like, telling me he wants to ride a bike. Like, this seems makes, she got him a basket, and he's loving the bike. He's wearing his hat in his bike basket. And last time I talked to him, because we chat frequently, he's like, tell my mom to go faster on the bike. Like,
Oh my gosh.
so yeah, some animals are just like, yeah, crack me up. And
Yeah, it's like he sounds like he would make a very good adventure cat.
well, that's how he words it. See, he's like, I want to go on adventures, because the first time I ever, or maybe one of our first sessions, he had, they live in like the desert in Arizona. He had gotten out of their yard and came back with cactus in him and stuff. And so she's like, you have to tell him to stay in the yard. That's dangerous. And he's like, well, then you need to take me on more adventures. Like, I'm going to find my own adventure if you don't take me on these adventures.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It is interesting, especially for a cat. But I mean, to
Yeah.
each their own.
Yeah. Someone who knew about this cat, I connected with her cat and she's like, ask him if he wants to wear a hat. And he's like, what? No. And then, so, like he wants to stay in the yard. He's like a little jealous. They go on walks around the neighborhood without him. But if they ask, do you want to come? And he's like, no, I want to stay in the yard. But can you talk about me while you are on your walks? And then she sent me a message last week saying they took a walk around the neighborhood and they made sure to like chat about him during it. And when they came back, he was like waiting at the fence, which is unusual for him. He was like, seemed very pleased that they had been chatting about him.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
So, when you're doing these sessions, do you feel like, this is going to be a weird question, do you feel like people or pets get the most out of them?
Ooh, I feel like initially the pets, but the deeper or longer, like the more sessions I do with people, then the more they open up and see the shifts within themselves also. Yeah, so I feel like on the surface at first, they might recognize it within their pet. And then as we go deeper with more sessions, they really start to see shifts within themselves also.
Yeah, and I just can't help but wonder if like that's their pet's intention all along.
Yes, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
They really care about us and want us to be happy and healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and this is just my brain rambling, but like I often feel like as humans, we're so egotistical as a species. Like everything is about us all the time. And so many of us, I think, overlook the fact that all of the animals, I also feel like the plants and,
I was just going
the
to say
water,
that,
the
like
river,
everything. Yeah,
yes.
I truly believe there's spirit within everything around us. I use flower essences all the time and they're deeply powerful. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I felt like I don't do a lot of gardening, but when you were talking about that person needing to get into the gardening, like that was his spiritual practice, like that hit me when you said that. I do have plants that I care for, but I don't consider myself a gardener, but it is definitely something that like I talk to my plants. And I haven't seen Gloria in like 4 days and I'm outside every night like, where are you?
Oh, I love Gloria.
my frog friend who likes to burrow herself in the soil around my palm tree.
And I think for me, once I shifted my perspective to that, like life got so much more beautiful and enjoyable that like I try to be mindful of everything around me and give thanks and acknowledge it. When a little bug is on you, you like, oh, instead of, you're like, say hello to it.
Yeah. I try to do that. I will not kill a spider. And I think spiders are like the best house guests because they just clean up everything, clean up all the ants and the bugs and they're amazing little things.
Ticks are the only thing. I
don't
was
like ticks.
watching a tick the other day and I'm like, I'm sorry, but you're the only little.
I know.
But you can give a little blessing, It's like that was the other tip that a dog gave yesterday about food. They were talking about eating high resonance food that's grown with love, vegetables and things that are. But then they said, but also you should say a blessing over your food. It's good for your physical health. I'm going to try to word it like the dog did. It's good for your physical health to say more prayers over your food.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Like it raises the vibration and sends blessings to your food, which will in turn nourish your body in a deeper level.
That's so sweet. I love that. I love that idea. I'll have to do that too.
Yeah, I learned so much. Exactly. So today when I ate, I make sure like, thank you, a reminder because I'm not in that practice, or we associate that practice maybe with a religion from childhood that we're no longer practice, but we can do all these things however it feels right for us.
So many people could benefit from this. Like even skeptics can benefit from it. I think because even if in the moment they're like, nah, like they might start seeing patterns or like something that you or, whoever they choose to work with, said to them, they could start seeing that like, wait a minute, so-and-so said this, and now my dog or my cat is doing, whatever. Like, I think that any and everybody can benefit from this kind of work.
Yeah. And I've let go of like my job, like, or my intention is not to just like convince anyone that they should work with me. I feel like if I feel in resonance, then you'll reach out and, like spreading the word about what I do, explaining what I do, but I'm not trying to like sell anyone anything because it has to be in the time that's right for them. And I've also let go of like not being, it does not hurt me or offend me if you are skeptical of what I do. Like that's your own journey and it's not anything personal against me. How we talk, like, I would say like 95% of my clients are female. And there is like, if they're males come in, it's usually like as a partner. And sometimes people say, or it'll come up in session. So their guides will tell me, he's skeptical of you. He's like around the room. Like, he's skeptical of you. And I'm like, that's okay. Like, it's fine. I'm just here to offer what comes through, and then people can do what they want with it or what feels in resonance with it.
I think it's beautiful. And I have worked with a handful of animal communicators. And I will say, like at the beginning, I didn't know the things to ask, like to feel more comfortable, I guess. I had a couple of, I don't want to say they were bad experiences, but I definitely had people who didn't do what you do as far as like asking permission, which I saw caused negative effects in my animals. They didn't like that. They didn't want somebody coming in and just like barging in without.
No, you need to ask permission and introduce yourself and let them know what's going on. And the animals are guiding the sessions for me. I'm never forcing anything. And every step I'm asking animal permission and also asking if it's in the highest good for them. Because sometimes things are just too intense. I mean, we can't go into therapy and layer everything in one session. Like, same for them. Like, some stuff is, maybe you don't want to go back to a traumatic event and go through that energy, like, so everything needs to be done with respect.
Yeah, no, it's hard for sure to do that. To go back and revisit things like that you haven't worked through at all. It's just like, so I imagine it is just as difficult for them. But if people do feel called to learn more about your services or even just go ahead and book with you, where can they find you?
Well, I'm on Instagram, magical Mutts Michelle. And then I have a website that you can do online booking. It's just magical.mutts.com. And you can reach out by on my website or DM me on Instagram if you have any questions at all. So I'm happy to chat.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's also in the show notes for anybody who, if you happen to be driving, you're not like writing stuff down, you can always go to the petparentingreset.com and pull up the show and pull up the show notes, and you'll see all of the information for Michelle there. And I just want to thank you again, because I personally feel like there are a handful of things that I'm like, yes, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that. And there are a couple of things that I'm like, I definitely don't want to do. One of those things is like grief counseling, and I feel like that even with connecting more in with myself, I don't know that I could do what you do as far as like the number of animals and people that you work with and try, like, there's just so much room in there for, I don't know. I don't think.
Yeah, it's like I deeply care about everyone, but I also I think it comes down to, I said, I just make an offering and then I have to release that. They do with it. I can't hold on to controlling anything but outcome,
Yeah, I get that. I'm definitely not there. So I very, very much respect and appreciate what you do. And I'm looking forward to the next time we meet for Kimberly, which will probably be in a couple of months.
I feel like the more that I connect with an animal too, it's just like they open up more and their personality just comes through. Yeah. And they'll, be like, oh, I remember you. I like you, For my own ego, that's fun to hear where I'm like, oh,
yeah. Well, I mean, you're not going to meet somebody for the first time and share your whole life story. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, some animals are chatty right away, but some, just like people. There's a doggy daycare where I've been seeing a lot of dogs at the daycare. So it's really fun because they'll talk about each other and are oh, I already know you. So-and-so told me about you. I'm like, oh, okay. Getting to know all the daycare
that is so
dogs.
Cool. That is so cool. I love that so much. And I mean, after having had the session with you, I am fully in support of, and I think I told you, I don't like having people on that I haven't used their product or service. And so I want to be able to say, yes, I can honestly say that this was beneficial, that I didn't find any, there wasn't anything negative. Like I was telling you, the first couple of animal communicators I worked with years ago, there was definitely blowback with my animals, and
your animals started having behavioral, showing you that they weren't happy.
So really, really interesting. My cat Romeo, who just passed, I had 3 different people, well, 2 animal communicators and 1 muscle tester connect with him, and did not go through the process that you and also Karen Dindy Smith did. So he was good with her, and then Kim was good with you, where asking permission and all of that ritual thing that you do when you start. And he would literally walk around the entire room and spray everywhere while in session. And in fact, the muscle tester, I knew exactly when she was tapping into him because she did it remotely. I wasn't on the phone or anything with her. She just did it on her own. I knew exactly when it was happening because he walked around the whole room spraying.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, cats like to give strong messages with urine, unfortunately.
Yes. I was I texted her, or I got the email from her the next morning that she had done blah, 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 whatever. And I was like, okay. That's what happened.
Oh my gosh. I love cats so much, but that is unfortunate that that's the way they show their displeasure often. It's that is actually the ultimate thing when someone's like, my cat stopped peeing on something after our session. I'm like, oh, that's the holy grail of accomplishments.
Yes. Yes, believe me. I feel that on such a deep level. All right, guys, please check out Magical Mutts Michelle on Instagram, magical.mutts.com online. And again, highly recommend her. And I really look forward to hearing from you. What happens if you do book a session? You obviously do not have to let me know, but I would love to hear about it. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Yeah,
do you have any parting words for anybody who I don't know.
People often ask what do I need to do to prepare for a session? And I say, just come in with an open mind and open heart, and that's it.
That's it. I love it. An open mind and an open heart. And with that, you guys have a great rest of your week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this week. Please give your pets some extra love from me and Michelle this week. I will talk to you next week.